All right. So, hello, Scoop Believers. We are here to do our episode 0. So, this is going to be the first episode that airs on my podcast, and it's going to be about me. So, basically, what I'm going to do is ask myself my questions and answer them and see what I actually have to say about my own questions. So, I'll also give a little bit of background about myself, just a little bit, because it could get kind of extensive and I didn't want this to run over. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up. Test 1, 2. Microphone is working. We're going to go ahead and set up the Zoom. So here we go. All right, and we're going to adjust the camera a little bit. We're going to test the audio, make sure it works. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that works.
Recording in progress.
Hello, Scoop Believers, and welcome to episode 0, the very first episode ever to air for the Untitled Entrepreneur. I'm really glad to be here. It's just an amazing, amazing thing to actually be in this time in my life where I can actually put something together like this. And hopefully what my goal is here is to help as many people as possible with my voice and with whatever knowledge I guess you can say that I actually have. So at this point, I'm just going to give you a little background about myself. I am DJ Scoop. That is me. My real name is Jesse Blount, but everybody calls me Scoob or DJ Scoob because I can go like this. And I've been doing the Scooby-Doo voice for probably about a good 20 some odd years now, so I hope I'm okay with it. And I kind of used that as part of my branding. For those of you looking on my YouTube channel, these little guys behind me are my symbols, basically. They are what represents my company. My company name is Piano Tie Entertainment. I own Piano Tie Entertainment. And just kind of the reason for that is because of the piano tie. So I have a tie that has a piano on it, and then I could actually turn it on and play music. And I kind of use that as part of my branding so people remember who I am. So I have actually been in sales. I was a car salesman for a good 16 years. Plus I've been in the service industry for about 10. So between the two, I thought it would be a good combination to do something for myself. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask myself the questions that I asked during my show, because I wouldn't ask anybody else to do anything that I wouldn't do. So we're going to do this. First of all, the very first question I always ask my audience is, are you a Scoop Believer? And I hope I am. That's for darn sure. So, I also ask, how long have you been in your entrepreneurship? And how long have you had your adventure for? A little bit about what I do. I think I gave a little bit about what I do. I run a podcast, hopefully. And my ultimate goal is to actually have my own entertainment company. As far as how long I've been doing this, technically, I've only been doing this probably for about a month. So I'm brand spanking new in this now. The idea in my head has probably been about a year or so in the making, but the actual physical doing of the podcast and having the actual Piano Tie Entertainment name has probably been about a year. Probably right on the money. So, what made you want to start this business? Well, it's really hard for me to actually pin it down because I I want freedom. I guess would be one of the main things. Freedom for time and freedom from money. Two things that have really kind of bogged me down most of my life. Right now, I'm working two jobs just to keep my head below water, as you could say. And doing both of them are very taxing on my body and on my mind both. So starting my own business would actually be something where I can actually relieve that stress and that tension for myself and concentrate more on things that I want, like to be with my family and to be with my kids and be able to make their dreams come true too and help them any way I can. So, yeah, that's probably the long short of it here. Okay. What are some of the pitfalls that you've encountered so far? Oh my goodness, pitfalls. Um, Pinning down the name of my podcast was probably one of the roughest things I had because it needed to be good. But at the same time, every time I thought I had one, it was either taken or it just didn't sound right to me, or it just sounded like it was part of another genre that it was really not meant for. So, yeah, the Untitled Entrepreneur was actually an accident. I was at work and I was in the hallways, and somebody walked by and talked about how they had a movie that they were watching, but they couldn't remember the title. And I kind of laughed to myself and said, "Oh, the Untitled Movie." And I think, wait a minute. Well, if you don't know the title of the movie, why don't you just kind of call it the Untitled Movie? And I was like, wow, I can't think of a name for my podcast. Why don't I just call it the Untitled Entrepreneur Podcast? And bam, it was born. Oh my goodness. So I'm hoping I could take this as far as I can, and we'll see what happens there. So that was probably one of my biggest downfalls. Oh, and not to sound hokey or anything, but of course, money. Money is always a pitfall for just about anybody I've talked to. I just want to try to make it a little bit different than what you've probably normally heard. So, do you have any influences, somebody to look up to? Yes, I do have several influences. My father being one, another one being a couple podcasts I started listening to right now. One of them being Entrepreneur on Fire with John Lee Dumas, or JLD. If you ever listen to this, JLD, dude, thank you. Oh my goodness, I've learned so much from you and all the people that you interview. Thank you very much. Also, Pat Flynn for the Smart Passive Income. Yeah, thank you, dude. I'm hoping that some of that smart passive income will come my way for at one point or another. So, okay, so those are kind of my influences. My youngest son, was a very big influence in my life because he gave me the quote that I'm going to use, and he's had this quote since he was 6 years old. And he's kind of lived by it, and in my own way, I've kind of lived by it too. And the quote is, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. And just to think about the today part, really, all the other one is good, but the today part is really the one that stands out the most, because for the longest time it's time, it's never time. It's gonna never be the time. So we do it today. We do it now. We do it while we're thinking about it, otherwise we forget about it. So that's kind of a thing that really kind of made this for me. So when will you know you've made it? Okay, this is kind of an interesting question for me, mainly just because I want to say, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you're DJ Scoob, aren't you? I love what you've done. If you've changed my life, thank you. Kind of like what I did with Pat Flynn and John Lee Dumas. So somebody doing that, saying that to me, face to face, would be definitely one of my biggest made it moments. having the time to be able to do something like this a little more full time would be great too. But I think just the feeling that I've helped somebody change their life for the positive, I think is better than any kind of money or any kind of freedom you could possibly have, because you made a difference in somebody else's life. And that would definitely make me feel good. So, if I met someone that wants to do the same thing as me, what advice would you need to give them? Start. Just do it. Do a little bit at a time, even if it's just a half an hour when you wake up in the morning and a half an hour at night before you go to sleep. Just get started. Let that compound effect, which is a book, the compound effect, let it start accumulating. Get that snowball rolling, because eventually you will actually have what you're looking for with all those little pieces put together. So I would say start now. Don't start yesterday. Don't start in a week. Don't start next year. Start now. Right now. Like, go home and start. So, all right. One of the questions, and I don't know if this, I don't think this one's really going to apply to me, but I'm going to just say it anyway. If I was looking to hire somebody in the same field as you, and then also two other people that are doing the same thing that are offering the same money, what would set you apart? I've actually had job interviews that I try to set myself apart. So I'm going to use that as an example instead. My personality, I really try to resonate with a positive attitude towards just about everything. And I think having a positive attitude, having me and my experience and the experiences that I've had in my life, try to kind of convey that for other people to see and feel good about me being around them and my experience. So hopefully that's enough to, get hired, or at one point or another. That's what I was doing when I was doing this. But now I'm kind of working for myself doing this. I'm still have my other two jobs, but I'm kind of doing this for myself too. So what is the one question you wish I asked you but didn't? I don't know, because I'm asking myself the questions. So I'm going to kind of skip that one. And how would I answer the question? Well, duh. So, okay. My next question is, do you have a goal in the next 6 months? Yes, I definitely have a goal for the next 6 months. In the next 6 months, I would like to actually start going back a little bit on the work that I do at both of my jobs. Not so much as one job with the other job, until I can actually match any kind of thing that I can do to work less, I guess you could say. So also, I would definitely like to have at least 1,000 downloads a month, I guess. I'm gonna throw that out there. It sounds good. I hope that people will actually listen to my podcast and learn from it and want to listen to more. So hopefully that means more downloads, which means more people to help. So hopefully that will accumulate to something great. So we'll see how that goes. So in 6 months, I'm going to have another episode of myself to kind of help hold myself accountable for my goals and see if I've reached my goals. So, and that's the same thing I do with any of my guests that I bring onto my show, is I get them to do the show, do a goal for themselves in 6 months, and then we follow up with them in 6 months and see if they've actually achieved that goal. Hopefully they have, because that would really be good to say, hey, congratulations, you made that goal. So those goals are going to be different for different people, so we'll see what the stories do. So that's basically all my questions. So I hope that this really turns out to be something great. And even if it doesn't, even if it only helps just one person, that's one life that we've made better. So thank you very much for listening to my voice for whatever time it is. And I really hope that you all learn something from my shows. This is the Untitled Entrepreneur, and this is GJ Scoob. Take care, y'all. Bye.
Recording stopped.
I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. But we'll see what happens. I really do hope this actually turns out to be something really, really good. Even if I don't make any money doing it, I just want to help people. And helping one or two people in my life as we go along, that's cool. But what if I could help thousands? You know? What if I could help a lot of people instead of just one or two? I just want to touch more lives than what I'm doing now. I just feel like it's kind of insignificant to be able to just do one or two lives, even though they're important. Don't get me wrong, but to be able to touch thousands of lives and have them hear my voice and say, hey, that's right, maybe I need to do something. Maybe I need to do something to improve my life or make things better. Who knows? And then one day I'll be walking down the street and, hey, there goes DJ Scoob. He did this for me. What a great guy. You know, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tooting my own horn here at this point. But okay, so this is definitely a special behind the scenes kind of thing. I'm going to be putting these out eventually for anybody that wants to see the behind the scenes of my podcast. Thank you very much for joining me, and good luck to you all. I love you. Bye.